Hey everybody, today we're here in Chattanooga, Tennessee at Honest Charley's Speed Shop and Museum. I've been here before, it's been a couple of years. This is one of my favorite museums, and I've went to a lot of car museums. They have things here that you won't see anyplace else. And some of it is restored and some of it is just left like it has, time has did its magic on it. But it's really a neat place to see. And I'm excited about going in here and looking around, and I hope that you enjoy going through here with us today. So come on in and let's take a look around. And if you don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe too. But anyway, let's go take a look around. Okay, when you first walk in here, they have a wide variety of cars here on racks, and the reason why this is one of my favorite auto museums is they have such a wide variety of cars in here. I was here a couple of years ago, and they have changed it up since I was here last. But let's take a look in here and see what they have. They have not only cars, but they have a lot of speed parts and old memorabilia from back in the day. Here's an old 1932 Ford. See, it's a woody, that wood siding on it. And it hasn't been restored very much, it doesn't look like. Now, this is called the Mormon Wasp. 1911, it says it's the winner of the inaugural Indy 500. I think it averaged 74 miles an hour. And this is a 1911 Lozier. And everybody's probably familiar with the 1955 Chevrolet. This looks like a convertible that looks like it's completely unrestored. 67 Corvette. Probably has a small block in it there, I would say. And here's a two-door hardtop 55, also in red, like the convertible was there. Here's some old Harley Davidson motorcycles. They got sidecars with them there. The way that Honest Charley's got its nickname was, at one time he ran a restaurant and he would leave the cash register open and let the customers make their own change. And there was a note by the register that says, "I'm honest, are you?" So he got the nickname Honest Charley. See a lot of old instruments and taillights there. Years ago, when Honest Charley had their Speed Shop catalog, which it used to be a mail order place, you could look these up and order them. It shows what year that the cars fit, model. Got a lot of old engines sitting around like this old flathead right here. And one thing about the Coker Auto Museum and Honest Charley's, they actually make wood wheels now for cars that they restore, and I'm not sure if they sell them. They probably do, but they do have one on display here. And here's some old speedy equipment and various parts they have on display. It says wood graining at honestcharley.com, and I don't know how well it's showing up with my camera, but they're showing different styles of wood graining they can do. This is a paint booth back here in the background. They do restore cars here, and they can see the big Cadillac sign they got, but I noticed up on the roof there's a lot of old vintage bicycles up there. And even old cars sitting up there. They have their own woodworking shop and machine shop. And if you notice on the table right there, you can see where they're actually making a wood spoke wheel in there on that table. Came through that area of cars right there, and you come to what they has the warehouse here on the door, and it's one of their main display rooms. Let's take a look inside there. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. So, Texaco Sky Chief fuel pump from years ago. Here's a 1947 Whizzer. I think Whizzer might be well, I started to say it might be a bicycle, and you might have actually bought that engine to go on to a bicycle, but I think this is actually where they took a factory-made bicycle that is half motorcycle, I guess you'd say. And here's old T-Bird. Still got the wide white walls on it. If you're a motorcycle enthusiast, they've got a lot of old motorcycles. Here's a couple of Harley Davidsons back here, and an Indian, which don't know a lot about motorcycles, but I know Indian is an old brand, and they got a couple of models of those here. 66 Mustang convertible. Got that neon Indian motorcycle sign. That is just too cool right there. Behind this 66 Mustang convertible is a 67 Chevrolet Camaro convertible. A couple more Indian motorcycles on the shelves back here. Look at that, and up on top, that's really something there. You get a good shot of it up on that shelf in the sunlight, but it says it's a 1914. And then when you come down here, let me zoom back out. There's no date on what year model this Harley Davidson is here. 1966 Honda, and it seemed my brother actually had an old motorcycle. It wasn't a Honda, but it was an old Sears that looked very similar to this. Motorcycle on top there, it says New Hudson on the tank, and I'm completely unfamiliar with that. There's old Honda. Now back to the cars. Here's an old dirt track car, it looks like. Look at this, it says it's a 1927 Izada, and I don't even know what an Izada is. That's one of the things I love about this museum. You see things that you've never seen before, or at least I haven't seen before. This is a huge car. Look at those wire wheels. This was definitely so much luxury back in the day. Back in 27, you had to be somebody to own this, or at least have a lot of money, even if you were nobody. Which in reality, nobody's a nobody, right? Wood inlay on the running boards on this car. Look at the size of that engine there. It's a straight 8, I believe. Noticed it is a right-hand drive. And look, the passengers even have a small windshield back here in the back. Here's a 1954 Buick, which looks like it's been very well restored. Great paint on it. Great interior, I can tell from here. Check out this old delivery truck. It's a 1913 white depot hack, it says. And it says it's a Chattanooga whiskey vehicle. But as you can see, they've got whiskey barrels here in the back. depot hack. And I think these vehicles were actually designed for the railroad depots. In 1913, most people were probably still traveling across country on a train, and they would come into the train depot and need to get around town to the hotel, wherever they were going to. And these would pick you up at the train stations and carry you wherever you needed to go. Kind of like calling an Uber today, I guess. Check out the light system on this thing. It's even still got the old squeeze bulb horn right here. If you follow the line down, you'll come out here. Just like the red and white 55 we saw when we first come in, here's a red and white 56. It's also convertible. This Thomas Flyer right here, this thing is huge. This one says Nyberg, and I have no idea, but this is one of the reasons I love this museum so much. There's just so much stuff that I've never seen. This is 1909 Loisier, if I'm saying that correctly. Let me get a shot of the name there. Here's a 1913 Cadillac, and it looks like it is unrestored. But I mean, totally unrestored. As you can see, the seats are coming apart up there and everything. It kind of reminds me of the old Clampett's car on the Beverly Hillbillies, even though I know it's nowhere close. I think they had an old truck actually. The size of the light bulb inside the headlights here, I can only imagine how much light that actually put out on a dark road in 1913. And here's a Plymouth fire truck, it looks like. It says 1925 American LaFrance fire engine. But it says Plymouth on the front there. I wonder if it was used in a town called Plymouth or something. There's a blue vehicle here. It's a 1923 Federal Fast Express flatbed truck. Look at the tires, it doesn't have any tread on them. Can't see what it is, but there's some type of green car on the back of the truck there. And beside it is another Federal truck. It's a 1925 model. Looks like a stake bed truck, and they've actually got a horse displayed in the back of it. Now this truck is a 25, I said. When you look over here now, here's a 41, which would be 16 years later. You can see how much it changed in such a short amount of time. Changed a lot in 16 years, and this one's actually hauling an old race car on the back, it looks like. Truck is a Diamond T, it says. And it's beside this 1937 white bus. And it says this is the Yellowstone bus. You can actually ride in one of these style buses through Yellowstone Park years ago. And it looks like this is one also. And it looks like you can see on the top, let me see if I can zoom in on one of these two. See, it's got the canvas tops on there, so I guess that would be removable so you could view the Yellowstone better. Just a guess. And here, a few years earlier, is a 1925 model Yellowstone model bus, tour bus. Isn't that neat to still be able to see these old vehicles? Because you know a lot of them, once they wore out, they probably got scrapped. Now this was a 1921 Federal Fast Delivery bus. Not delivery bus, delivery truck. But look at the size of it. It's huge. It's probably, I don't know, 11 feet tall, something like that. And the engine in this thing probably isn't that big. But if you notice on the front, it's still got the old crank handle here in the front where you would start the engine. And it boasts a speed up to 35 miles an hour to deliver your goods. But look at the rear end back there, how narrow that is. It's got a big differential chunk, but it's very narrow. Excelsior motorcycle advertisement back here. Remember these, there's an old cigarette machine, and been many years since they've used these, but they have a mirror on the front where you could buy a pack of cigarettes and I guess check your hair or makeup or whatever you needed to do. And here's a candy machine with the same type of layout, where if you remember, the candy would go right here and you would just pull the knob out, and it says it was 20 cents back in the day. There's an old weight machine, and it probably still works. But here's a Tom's snack machine, which they used to be famous for crackers and peanuts, but it says only 5 cents for that right there. Here's one of the old see-through gas pumps there. Now this little vehicle here is I guess a passenger bus from back in the day. It had a 2-cylinder engine, and the tires on this thing, as you can see, it's got wood spoke wheels, but the tires are actually solid rubber. Doesn't have any pneumatic, no air, no anything. It's just a solid chunk of rubber. Look how high the passengers would sit in the back behind the driver. The old leaf spring suspension they have in front here, and I guess that's I don't know if that's an emergency brake or pull brake, but there's 2 of them, whatever it is there. Now, as you go through the museum, they have these QR codes where you can scan it, and it will tell you a little bit more on the vehicle. Here's a 1917 Winston, which you can see it's a big, nice luxury touring car. The crank handles they had on front, even though it was a big luxury car, somebody had to get out and crank that motor around to get it started up on all these cars. Now, there's no information on this car. There's a big B on the front. I guess it's a Bentley, but it sure is nice. So look, it's a sporty model. This is a 1915 Crane Simplex, and it's very rare. Let me see what it says here. It told the numbers. It says only 121 were produced from 1915 to 1917. So this is a very rare vehicle right here. 1919 Franklin. So it's kind of boxy looking, but it's at the same time it's kind of rounded at the front. It says it had an air-cooled engine, and you can see the way this kind of slopes up. It looks like air would hit in this little box right here and probably be forced up through this front right here to help cool the engine. Here's a 1912 Alco. You see those all the time. I'm just kidding. I've never seen the Alco before, I don't think, unless it was here a few years ago. And this is a 1915 Simplex. 1911 Pierce Arrow. Swivel seats in the back here. Y'all thought that's something that come out like with the old T-Birds or something, but no, it was a long time before that. There's another Loisier. There's no date on this one, but I know we saw one on the other side a minute ago. And here's another Simplex. Man, these cars were huge. Here's an old Cadillac. This is a 1924 Marmon. And it seems like I've seen these in old movies before, or at least something that looks similar to it. And this big car here is a Packard. If I'm correct, I see Pack on the side of the hubcap there. Yeah, it says Packard 20 or something. Got this old advertisement hanging out in the rafters up here. So up in the rafters, there's a old hotel sign for the No-Tail Hotel. So that's pretty interesting. See a Sears motorcycle up there on the shelves. It says 1915, I think. But my brother's was like the 60s or so it wasn't quite as old as that, but it is interesting to see that. I zoomed up a little closer, it's actually a 1913. 1915 Ford T model. As you can see there, it's got that cross-mounted leaf spring on the front for suspension. And this is a 1910 Overland. This is a 1910 Nyberg, and this is 1937 Buick. It's some type of, I don't know if this will be some type of Indy car, but it's very interesting. Look at the grill on it. Reminds you of some of the early Fords. And this is a 1928 Bentley. Love old cars or love old motorcycles, they've got you covered here at this museum. Like I said, this was one of my favorites. 1931 Morgan. I have no idea where they would have been built at, but as you can see, it's kind of like a front-mounted motorcycle style engine here, and it is got two front wheels and one in the back. Go ahead and leave this area right here and move on down. They've actually got a shop here where they build cars, and I'm running out of time today. I'm gonna run down there and see what they're working on, and I'm not gonna be able to look at all the stuff in this room, but let me go on down there and take a look at that. This is the garage area back here where they're actually working on cars. As you can see, they're down there working on looks like a windshield frame or something on that little roadster down there. But anyway, these are cars that are in progress of having something done to them, I guess. It looks like a little Honest Charley shop truck there. They've made a hot rod out of it there. Got a tunnel ram and two fours on it. It says a 1941 Ford is what it is. You have a cutaway right here of a small block Chevy engine, what it looks like. But you can see the inner workings of it a little bit. You can see how the water pump works there with little propellers on it. And now you can see the little diaphragm there in the fuel pump. And they have a lot of those historical stuff. Let me, if you look up here on the wall, let me zoom up a little bit. It says this was Chevy's first V8. And the signage right here tells the story about it. But it was way back in 1917 is when it was first produced, and they went away from it, but it did make it into some cars. So I can zoom, well, that's as far as I can zoom with this camera. But if you'll notice, the plugs are actually on the inside of the lifter valley going into the side of the heads. And I'm looking at the intake system. I don't know exactly how that's distributed there into the engine, but that's very unusual and really neat to see some of that type of history. But as you can see, they got a lot of old bikes in this area too. The stuff along the walls, and there's even an old motorcycle on top of the crane back there. Got some old vintage parts and stuff in here in these display cases. There's a valve cover off of an old Chrysler Hemi. Some old Excelsior gas tanks in here. And there's the old Michelin tire man. I see some old steering wheels and headlights. I don't know what that is right there, but it does have wheels on it. And I don't know what that is. That's neat. Lanes in this room also. There's a little 32 Ford Highboy. I guess Coker Tire uses it for advertising. but I can see it still has a flathead engine, but it also has a supercharger on it down there, which you don't see that a lot. And they say it's all about the tire. And here's the Jaguar. I see the RCA Victor dog up there on the shelf. Old Coke machine. There's even an old Ferrari sitting over here. That like the one Magnum drove in Magnum PI. There's an old Sun machine. If you ever went into a auto repair shop or something back in the day before they had all the computers, they would hook your car up to one of those machines and maybe see what type of plug wasn't firing correctly, or something to kind of give you a scope reading on that. They have a lot of neat little historic items in here too. I've seen several jukeboxes, and here it says midget movies 5 cents, and you put your nickel in and you could watch a little short movie. And I can see Charlie Chaplin there and Laurel and Hardy on what they've got displayed right there. And there's some Jaguar advertising there in the corner, it looks like, or behind the car rather. And noticed a minute ago with this little pickup truck here that's been chopped and lowered. I noticed in the bed it's actually got a airplane tail mounted in the bed there. Something you don't see every day. Several of their t-shirt designs here posted before I go into the gift shop. But I noticed there's boat motors here, and these are all bins. I don't know if you can still order through them. I guess you can, or maybe you can't, because it says first mail order speed shop 1948 to 2008. So did they stop mail order in 2008? And now maybe they do it online, I'm not sure. Well, look up there. They've got some more of the old Whizzer bikes up there, and it looks like those might be fully restored up there. There's old Pepsi machine with Honest Charlie standing in front of it there. Another old Coke machine. Some vintage tin toys. Okay, everybody. Well, I just came outside and from the museum here, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I say, I always see things here that I haven't seen before. They've always got new projects in the works, and yeah, it's just a really enjoyable experience for me to come here. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you don't mind, we appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll probably hit some more museums and some more car shows soon. So be sure to sign up so you don't miss any of it. But anyway, may God bless you, and hopefully we'll see you in another video. Bye.